There's a kind of loneliness that's almost impossible to explain to someone who's never felt it. It's not the loneliness of being physically alone. It's the loneliness of being surrounded by people and still feeling completely invisible. It's like you're an alien observing humanity through a glass that no one else can see. If you've always had the feeling that you don't belong anywhere, that there's something fundamentally different about you that others can't understand, then you need to hear what I have to tell you today. Because maybe, just maybe, you're not broken. Maybe you're exactly what this world needs. If this video is making sense to you, leave a like right now. And if you want to discover why being different might be your greatest gift, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because this could be the video that completely changes the way you see yourself. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to navigate social life with an ease that feels almost magical to you? Why they can connect, belong, be a part of it all, while you always feel like you're watching life happen from the outside? You were that kid who asked questions that made adults uncomfortable. Why do people lie when they say everything is okay? Why do we pretend to like things we don't? Why does nobody talk about the things that really matter? And the answer was always the same: you think too much. In school, you felt like everyone else had received an instruction manual on how to be human, and yours had been lost in the mail. While your classmates played and laughed effortlessly, you observed, analyzed, tried to decode the social patterns as if they were a foreign language. You were the teenager who would rather stay home reading or listening to music than go to parties where you had to pretend to be someone you weren't. And when you finally went, you stood in the corner, watching the interactions with a mix of fascination and exhaustion. It was as if you could see the layers beneath the superficial conversations, and that made you simultaneously more aware and more isolated. In adult life, you learn to wear masks. You develop personas for different situations: the work version of you, the family version, the acquaintance version. But underneath all those masks, there's a question that never leaves you. Who am I really when no one is looking? You feel other people's emotions as if they were your own. You walk into a room and immediately pick up on the tension, the sadness, the forced joy. It's like you're an emotional antenna that you can't turn off, and it's exhausting. It's like carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders without anyone acknowledging the burden. You have moments of clarity so intense they're almost scary. Insights about life, about people, about the meaning of things that come out of nowhere and leave you wondering if you're seeing something others don't, or if you're simply going crazy. But what if I told you that all these things you consider your biggest weaknesses are actually your greatest gifts? What if your sensitivity isn't a flaw, but an antenna tuned to frequencies that most people don't even know exist? Pause and think with me. In a world that is increasingly superficial, disconnected, and automated, doesn't it make sense that there would be people like you? People who can see beyond the surface, people who feel deeply, people who ask the tough questions. Your difficulty in fitting in is not a design flaw. It's a feature. You weren't made to fit into pre-made molds because you came here to help break those molds. Your difference is your mission. Think of the great visionaries of history: artists, philosophers, inventors, spiritual leaders. How many of them fit perfectly into the society of their time? How many of them were seen as normal by their contemporaries? The answer is simple: none of them. Van Gogh was considered crazy. Einstein was seen as a useless dreamer. Gandhi was rejected by his own society. Frida Kahlo painted her pain when no one understood art as therapy. They all had one thing in common. They were outsiders who turned their pain into purpose, their difference into a revolution. Your excessive sensitivity, that's what allows you to understand emotional nuances that go unnoticed. Your difficulty with small talk, it's because your mind is busy with deep and meaningful questions. Your social exhaustion, it's because you're processing information on levels that most people can't even imagine. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists in history, said something that goes straight to the heart of this issue. The main task of a human being is to give birth to themselves, to become what they potentially are. The most important product of this effort is the original personality. Jung understood that there is a fundamental difference between those who follow the collective path and those who are called to the process of individuation, the lonely but necessary path of becoming truly who you are. He also said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. For you, who has always felt irritated by the world's superficiality, this means your irritation is actually an internal GPS pointing to your true, deep, and authentic nature. The psychiatrist and author M. Scott Peck, in his book The Road Less Traveled, wrote, "The problem is not that there are problems. The problem is expecting not to have problems." For people, like you, the problem of not fitting in is actually the first sign that you are on the right path. The anthropologist Margaret Mead observed that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. You are part of that small group. You always have been. The question is, are you ready to recognize it? Rumi, the 13th century Sufi poet, perfectly captured the essence of this journey. Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. Your strangeness, your difference, your inability to fit in, that's your internal compass guiding you to your true home, yourself. Now that you've started to see your difference in a new light, I need to tell you something that could completely change your perspective on your own story. For years, you lived the first act of a story, the act of conflict, of confusion, of the pain of not belonging. But every great narrative has 3 acts, and you are about to enter the second. The first act of your life was marked by what psychologists call the primary wound, that deep feeling that something was wrong with you. You tried to shape yourself, to adapt, to force yourself into spaces that were too small for your soul. And each failed attempt only confirmed your belief that you were the problem. But here's the plot twist. You were never the problem. You were the solution looking for the right problem to solve. The second act begins with recognition. It's when you stop fighting against your nature and start investigating it. It's when you realize that your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's your superpower. Your inability to accept superficial answers isn't stubbornness, it's wisdom. Your need for authenticity isn't being too demanding, it's integrity. At this point in the story, you begin to understand that there are 2 types of people in the world. Those who are here to keep the system running, and those who are here to evolve the system. Both are necessary, both are important, but you've always known, deep down, that you belong to the second group. The third act, and this is the most powerful one, is when you fully embrace your mission. It's when you stop hiding and start shining. It's when you understand that your difference isn't something to be healed, but something to be celebrated and shared with the world. Think of your life as a seed that was planted in rocky soil. You fought against the stones, blamed yourself for not being able to grow like the other plants in the well-tended garden. But now you realize, you are not a garden flower. You are a tree that needs space to grow, deep roots to support itself, and the height to touch the sky. Jung identified several universal archetypes that live in the collective unconscious of humanity, and you've probably recognized yourself in some of them throughout your life. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the archetypes that define people like you and why they are so crucial for human evolution. The first is the hermit archetype. Not the hermit who flees the world out of fear, but the one who withdraws to find the truth and then returns to share it. You've always needed time alone to process, to recharge, to understand. This isn't antisocial, it's spiritual maintenance. It's like the great masters who retreated to the mountain to receive revelations that they later shared with humanity. The second is the wounded healer. This is the archetype of the one who transforms their own pain into medicine for others. You know the pain of alienation, of misunderstanding, of being different. And it is precisely because you know this pain so intimately that you can help others who are going through the same thing. Your wound is your credential, your authority to heal. The third is the seer, the one who sees what others cannot. You've always picked up on the subtext, the unsaid, the hidden truths behind appearances. This made you feel crazy at times because you saw things that no one else validated. But seers have always been misunderstood in their time. They see the future before it arrives, identify problems before they manifest, recognize potentials that are still dormant. The fourth is the world translator. You've always felt like you were between two worlds, the tangible world where everyone seems to live comfortably, and another world that is more subtle, deeper, truer. Your mission is to be the bridge between these worlds, to translate spiritual insights into human language, to make the invisible visible. And finally, the silent revolutionary. Not the revolutionary who breaks windows, but the one who breaks paradigms, who questions why things are the way they are, who refuses to accept it's always been this way as an answer. Your simple, authentic existence is an act of revolution in a world that rewards conformity. Now I'm going to share with you 3 revelations that will completely reorganize how you understand your journey. Get ready, because each one might cause an internal click so strong that you'll wonder how you never saw this before. First revelation: your difference is not accidental, it is intentional. On a very deep level, even before you were born, your soul chose this experience of being different because it had a specific job to do in this world. You weren't poorly programmed. You were specially programmed. Think about it. If everyone were the same, who would question? Who would innovate? Who would remind humanity that there is more to life than the daily grind? You are part of a cosmic system of checks and balances. You are the antidote to what Jung called participation mystique, the collective unconsciousness. Second revelation: your sensitivity is an advanced technology. You're not too sensitive. You're operating with a more refined sensory system. It's like having perfect pitch in a world of tone-deaf people. Of course, you're going to hear things others don't. Of course, certain frequencies will be painful for you when no one else seems bothered. Your sensitivity picks up on unspoken emotional tensions, inauthenticity in interactions, unrealized potential in people, dissonances between what is said and what is felt, unmet needs in environments. This isn't a defect, it's an upgrade. Third revelation: your loneliness is not isolation, it's incubation. Just as a butterfly needs the chrysalis to transform, you needed loneliness to develop who you really are. Every moment you spent alone, questioning, reflecting, feeling, was actually forging your authentic identity. Most people form their identity through external approval and validation. They become a reflection of what others expect them to be. You, on the other hand, were forced to find yourself in the absence of that validation. The result: you developed a more accurate internal compass, a stronger connection to your truth, an authenticity that doesn't depend on the opinions of others. That's the difference between being a satellite that reflects the sun's light and being a star that produces its own light. Imagine your life up to this point as if you were a radio tuned to a different frequency from all the radios around you. While everyone else was picking up the FM station of daily life, work, superficial relationships, entertainment, you've always been picking up something deeper, more complex. A station that broadcasts the whispers of the human soul, the unspoken truths, the emotions that hang in the air like an invisible perfume. For years you thought your radio was broken. You'd hit it, fiddle with the knobs, desperately trying to tune in to the same station as everyone else. But every time you managed to catch a bit of that normal frequency, the sound came out distorted, artificial, as if you were forcing something that wasn't natural for your equipment. Now you understand. Your radio wasn't broken. It was configured for a higher, more subtle, more refined frequency. You are like a grand piano in a world of electronic keyboards. Of course you sound different. Of course you need more care, more space, more silence to function properly. But when you play your authentic music, the difference is unmistakable. Your sensitivity is like having skin without the first layer of protection. Everything that touches you penetrates deeper, resonates more intensely. A harsh word doesn't just hurt, it echoes for days. A kind gesture doesn't just warm you, it transforms you for weeks. You absorb the world through every pore. Every breath carries with it not just oxygen, but emotions, intentions, energies. It's as if you're an emotional sponge in an ocean of human feelings. You walk into a room and immediately know who argued before they arrived, who's pretending to be fine, who's carrying sadness even while smiling. You are a human emotion detector, and that is simultaneously a gift and an immense responsibility. Think of your mind as a vast silent library. where every experience, every observation, every insight is carefully cataloged and filed away. While others experience life like a fast-moving movie, you live it like a slow-motion documentary, noticing every detail, every nuance, every layer of meaning. Your need for solitude isn't an escape, it's recalibration. It's like a violin that needs to be tuned after every performance because its strings are so sensitive that any change in temperature or humidity affects them. You need this time alone to process everything you've absorbed, to separate what's yours from what belongs to others, to find your own frequency again amidst the noise of the world. Stop for a moment and be completely honest with me, and more importantly, with yourself. How many times have you had insights about people or situations that turned out to be absolutely correct, even when no one else saw what you were seeing? How many times did you just know something without being able to explain how you knew? If you've always felt like an alien trying to understand human customs, I want you to understand something fundamental. You are not a poorly adapted alien. You are a highly evolved human being in a world that has not yet caught up to your level of consciousness. You are one of those people who looks at a child and can see not only who they are now, but who they have the potential to become. You look at a relationship and can see the underlying dynamics that the people involved don't even notice. You walk into a workplace and can feel the organizational culture as if it were a scent in the air. This isn't common intuition. This is emotional clairvoyance. This is ancestral wisdom operating through you. I want you to do a mental exercise with me now. Think of the 5 people closest to you. Now answer me. How many of them truly know you? Not the edited version you present to make coexistence easier, but your real, deep, complex self, with all your sharp perceptions and existential questions. If the answer is few or none, you are not alone. And more importantly, this doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you are like a book written in a language that few people have learned to read. That doesn't make the book less valuable. It makes the readers who can understand it more special. Have you ever noticed how you have an almost physical need for authenticity? How superficial interactions and empty conversations drain your energy as if they were emotional vampires? This happens because you operate on a frequency of truth. Lies, even the socially acceptable ones, create dissonance in your internal system. And that feeling that you are destined for something greater, but you can't quite define what. It's not a delusion of grandeur. It's your soul reminding you that you came here with a specific purpose. You are not just another extra in the movie of life. You are one of the main characters in a story that is still being written. If you've made it this far in this video and every word is resonating in your chest like a bell being rung, then you are exactly the kind of person I was hoping to reach today. You are part of an invisible family scattered across the world, people who carry the same mark, the same sensitivity, the same mission to elevate human consciousness simply by being authentically who they are. So here we are, at the end of this journey of recognition, and I need to leave you with a truth that can change everything for you from now on. You've spent your whole life trying to fit into a world that was too small to contain who you really are. But the time has come to stop shrinking to fit into tiny spaces and start taking up the space you've always deserved. I was never made to fit in. I was made to remember. To remind people that there is more beauty in life than they allow themselves to see. To remember that there is more depth in human connections than small talk allows. To remember that there is more magic in existence than our fast-paced society lets us perceive. And you were also made to remember. Every time you refuse to accept a superficial answer, you are reminding someone that deep questions deserve reflection. Every time you show authentic vulnerability, you are reminding someone that it's safe to be real. Every time you honor your sensitivity, you are reminding the world that kindness is not weakness. Your difference is not a cosmic accident that needs to be fixed. It's a feature, not a bug. It's part of an intelligent design for the evolution of human consciousness. You are part of a generation of souls who came to this planet with a specific mission, to raise the frequency, to question the status quo, and to remind humanity of its true spiritual nature. The loneliness you've felt your whole life wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It was the necessary space for you to develop your own voice, your own truth, your own connection to something greater than us. It was the laboratory where you learned to navigate the depths of the human experience without getting lost in them. Now it's time to leave the lab and share your findings with the world. Not through grand gestures or eloquent speeches, but simply by being yourself so authentically and consistently that other people feel permission to do the same. Your mission isn't to save the world. Your mission is to be yourself so completely that you inspire others to be themselves too. It's like lighting a candle in a dark room. You don't need to light up the whole room. Just be the light that you are, and that will be enough for others to find their own candles. If this video touched your soul and helped you see your difference as the gift it truly is, leave a comment telling me which insight impacted you the most. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today to feel less alone. And if you want to keep exploring themes like this that help you embrace your authenticity and find your unique purpose, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because you don't have to hide anymore. The world needs your light. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like to get access to more stories like this one. You are not flawed. You are not too much. You are not difficult. You are exactly who you are supposed to be, exactly when you are supposed to be, and it's time for the world to meet this true version of you. Welcome to your true home, yourself.